Good morning and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Summer and a couple of other cases. I know there's a lot of controversy about the coverage Summer's case has, and if I lose subs over this video, that's okay, because I'm not going to give up on Summer. She does not deserve to be given up on because adults in the community can't get their crap together. There's no reason, whether it's Summer or any other child or missing person, that if a creator wants to cover, they shouldn't be harassed for it. They shouldn't be told anything. Telling a creator or a person to stop covering a missing person is absolutely selfish. I mean, the whole goal is to bring awareness. I would like to see, I would like to say that keeping these people relevant, whether it's an adult or a child, the missing people relevant should be the common goal for everybody in our community of true crime. Bringing awareness to DV or SA or CA, whatever you want to call it, should be the common goal. Not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But there's no reason to harass people to the point where they want to stop covering a case. And I've never covered any cases like this before Summers, but just from Summers alone, I have seen so much hate out there, and it's very discouraging because, again, the common goal should be to find the missing child or bring awareness, okay? I feel like some of us who are pretty adamant about still covering Summer's case, you know, we're not the ones that are doing it for the right reasons, I should say. We're not doing it because we want the clicks, likes, and views. We are doing it because there are too many people around this child that want her to be forgotten. If you followed her case at all, you would notice that there is a large amount of people that were around the wells who don't want this child found. There are just so many sketchy people. There are so many diversions that have been put out there, so many things just to purposely muddy the waters, purposely, infuriate people to the point where they throw their hands up in the air and say, F it, I don't want to deal with this crap anymore, and stop covering her case. Some people have even completely shut down their channels because of the bull crap, which is horrible, because I've seen a lot of really great creators leave because of that. And the only one you guys are hurting is Summer, because when you take away anybody who wants to cover a missing child, you just took a chance of that child being relevant away as well. My purpose to keep talking about Summer and figuring out how to keep her relevant is because I do see a lot of people who don't want anything more but for her to be forgotten about. They want her to be forgotten about so they can go about business as usual. They want to get everybody, away from there. And that tells me that if she's found, not only would people get in trouble for her, but it would open up a can of worms that would probably have like a domino ripple effect and expose a lot of people. And that tells me that there is something truly horrific going around that area. And I'm not saying that, all the people that live there are bad people. That is not what I mean. I'm talking specifically about the Jody Sues and the Dawn and Candaces and the Alleys and, everybody surrounding that case. The selfishness and evilness that has surrounded this case of a missing child, put that into perspective. What the hell was going on that they feel the need to make sure it's not found out? Because there's a missing child. All over a missing child. Normal people, even if they had crap to hide, have a moral compass to do the right thing. At least I would like to think so. I'm losing my faith in humanity day by day with the crap we see. But most people would say, okay, yeah, I got a bunch of pot plants, but this is what I know. If I get in trouble for it, I get in trouble for it. Not these people. These people are staying tight-lipped. They don't want their skeletons coming out of the closet, and they don't care that there's a child being sacrificed to save their own asses. And that's what it comes down to. Whether or not she is still with us, I don't know. But she still deserves justice, and she still deserves to be found. It is not fair to any missing person to sit there and discourage people from covering their case. And for everyone that wants to sit there and talk crap about what cases are being covered, if you don't like what you're seeing, do what I did. Make your own channel. Put the faces out there that you think should be out there. Do coverage on cases that you think should be covered. Don't sit there and tell somebody they're not doing a good job or that they're not focusing on anything when you're not doing a damn thing. Some people, their way of support is by listening, by hitting the like button, and sharing stories. Other people, like to be boots, or like if they can, want to be boots on the ground, putting out flyers. And whatever these people are doing for any missing person should be okay. As long as they're not exploiting that person, then bringing awareness to them and continued awareness to them is okay. Because what's going to happen is the cases will become cold cases. And then 20, 30, 40 years from now, nothing good comes of it because everybody just got frustrated, or everybody got annoyed, or people just decided that that child didn't deserve coverage anymore. And it's disgusting. It truly is. Summer, in my opinion, and I feel like the youngest brother too, honestly. I don't know about the other two, but I feel like the youngest brother and Summer had more in common with each other, and that's probably why they were so close. I will not put that, I won't say what it is, but I'm sure you all can kind of take away if you followed Summer's case. I feel like she wasn't the only victim. She got it the hardest, I think, but I think her the youngest brother was pretty damn close to the type of treatment that Summer got. I believe he received as well. My hope is that these boys can be somewhere that is loving, safe, stable, that they can heal and hopefully break the cycle and have a fighting chance at having a good life. My goal is to keep Summer relevant, to make sure she's not forgotten about. And if, people don't want to listen to videos about her, that's fine. You can always move on to the next. And that goes for any channel. But you don't got to put hateful stuff. You don't got to talk crap. Just move on into it next. If there's a case you think that isn't being covered right, then cover it yourself. There are hundreds and thousands of children across the world that became what I call the casualties of the lockdown, because I don't think you could say the word on YouTube. So when lockdown happened, I literally cried because the first thought that popped into my mind was all those kids that are officially stuck. Those kids that had safety for going to school, or food for going to school, and whatever. I mean, lockdown really just, oh my goodness. I don't think we'll ever know the totality that lockdown had on children. I think years from now, we are still going to be uncovering children that lockdown was the reason for their demise, because it left them with the people who wanted to hurt them, Mommy? Yeah. There are, casualties from the pandemic that we are still finding out about. And like I said, years to come, I think we still will be, because I can't imagine the amount of children whose safe havens were taken. Their safety nets were completely ripped away from them. So, put that into perspective. There are kids out there that can't get help, maybe never will get help, because of the time of lockdown, and they literally not slipped through the cracks, but they fell through the floor. I mean, those children fell, okay? And the other thing I want people to put into perspective is we have a name. We have lots of names. Not all of those names have pictures. Not all of those names have information. But whatever name that we can put out there, we should, for the missing. We have that information. So there's no reason not to talk about them. Especially because there is no way to tell how many kids were affected by this. And what really bugs me is I can't imagine that we know, or not us, but just in general, that people know how many children were born during that time. And that is heartbreaking, because some of those kids that were born during the pandemic, during lockdown, they will never get justice. They will never be found. Their stories will never be told, because nobody knows they even existed. And that is truly heartbreaking. So if you want to fight for Summer, fight for Summer. You want to fight for Harmony, fight for Harmony. Fight for Cody, fight for Michael. Fight for any person out there that you feel you need to fight for. Fight for Ariana Fitz, okay? Fight for Samaj Crosby. Fight for any child that wants to grab at your heartstrings, because there's a reason that they're doing it. There's a reason certain cases just bug you more than others. You know, and I just named a couple, but because, I mean, there's so many of them, you know, that I don't even, like William Terrell, you know, there's just so many kids out there. Xavier Harrelson, he still hasn't had justice either. There's just so much bad in this world that we may not be able to change it, but at least we can try our best to keep these cases relevant, try to spread the word, try to get justice, hoping that some sort of ripple effect will happen and that these kids can be brought home, whatever that may mean. Summer's case is a really toxic one, and it's no fault of her own, you know, but she's the one that's being affected. She's the one that's being hurt by this, nobody else. Dawn and Candace aren't being hurt by this. Jody Sue sure in the hell ain't being hurt by this. Nobody is. Summer's being hurt by this because it is taking away from her story. It is her tragedy that people should be focused on. I'm not saying what, you know, Dawn and Candace have done in their past isn't relevant, because it is. But there are just things that don't help find what's become of Summer. We all have our theories, but at the end of the day, the only thing that we know is truthful is that she's missing, okay? And in my opinion, the other truth that seems pretty evident now is that there are a lot of people that don't want this child found. And that raises even more flags. Why do so many people want to get people away from Summer's case? What the hell is going on? Well, thank you for listening. Please, if you take anything away from this video, I'm going to talk about something else too, but if you take anything away from this video about Summer's case, I hope it was positive, and I hope that you guys can look at it differently and know that yes, it is a toxic situation, but at the end of the day, there's a child that is missing. She was 5. She didn't do anything to deserve what's happened to her or what she went through. She's 6 now, and I hope she is found before she turns 7. I mean, it's heartbreaking. She deserves better, just like all these other children that we fight for. They all deserve better. There's 2 cases I want to talk to you about. The first case is about a little girl named Everly, and unfortunately for her, she does not have enough people fighting for her currently, so she doesn't wind up becoming the next Harmony Montgomery. And her situation, unfortunately, is starting to roll out like Harmony's situation did, and the goal is to prevent her becoming another Harmony. I'm going to be doing a video about it, and I'm just trying to, you know, get everything organized so I can, you know, do a video on it. But Everly George needs our help currently so she doesn't become another casualty to a failed system. She needs voices for her. She needs somebody to fight with her to be given back to the people she loved and the people that loved her, and taken away from the incubator who officially has her back in her custody. And like I said, I will get more into that, but please look into her. Her name is Everly George. And if you followed Harmony's case, once you start looking into Everly's case, you will understand what I mean. And I hope that, you know, you join me for that video once I put it out. Another video I'm working on is a little girl who is what I would consider a cold case, only because it's just been so long. Her mother was found murdered and she was kidnapped. Her name is Ariana Fitz. And incredibly heartbreaking situation. I'm hoping, right now I'm, you know, working into her case, and when I finally do get my live, she is going to be who I talk about. But I want to get her name out there anyways. That way, if anybody wants to look into her, by all means, go ahead. There is another child who I don't know if, I guess you could kind of classify it as a cold case because there's still no justice received. Her name's Samaj Crosby. She is a little baby from Joliet, Illinois, a few years back, and she was found stuffed in a couch. And that's not the most horrific thing about it, you know. She literally lived in a house of horrors, and she and those other children in that house were failed miserably. And again, people went out of their way to destroy any kind of evidence to get her justice. And it's scary to think that the children that were still alive during this situation, I honestly don't know if they are today because, they're minors, we can't check up on them, but I wouldn't be surprised if COVID took them too, with as far as not having a safe haven. But I encourage you to look at her story as well. There are an insane amount of children out there who have been failed by their system in general. I mean, I'm not talking about just, people seeing something and not saying something. I am talking about the system worldwide has failed, miserably failed children. And I'm not going to sit there and say, well, it's because the agencies are understaffed and yada, yada, excuses. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I've literally been looking into cases, and the amount of cases where DCFS was involved, or at the very least, hospitals picked up red flags, but nothing came of it. And it's truly sad. Truly, truly sad. I hope that, you continue to watch my channel. I hope that you continue to fight the good fight. And I hope that we can all come together as a community to bring awareness to things we are passionate about. And being a voice for the voiceless is what I'm passionate about. Making sure that every child has a fair chance of being found, whatever that may look like. That is the goal. They all deserve to be found. They all deserve justice. And they all deserve a fighting chance. But there's not enough of us in the world to advocate and fight for all the kids that are missing out there. It'll never be enough. So if you think that there's cases out there that you don't see getting enough attention or not treated the way it should be, then make a video of your own. I'm not saying you have to become a creator. You don't have to do that, but you can make a channel. You can voice your opinion. You could talk about a child that doesn't have coverage, or talk about a child that does have coverage but you feel needs a different type of coverage. Be part of the change. Be part of the solution instead of, harassing people and telling them everything they're doing wrong and what they should do better. No, that's not how this works. I feel like that saying say something applies to that too, because if you see the misinformation or you see something that you aren't okay with, then do something about it. I can't drive. I can't go anywhere independently. I don't have money to do all the things I would like to do to help with these cases, but I can get on here and I can talk about the cases. And you know what? That's my little part that I can do. Whether or not it makes a difference to people, I don't care, because to me, it makes a difference in the sense that somebody is still fighting for a child, whoever that child may be. Somebody is still fighting for answers. Somebody is still fighting for justice. Somebody is still making sure that their stories are told. A lot of these kids we cover, we know first-handedly. Hold on one second, sorry. Need a coffee. We know first-handedly that they did not know what true love meant in their life. They knew a false love. They were meant to understand love for what it should not be. They were blamed for what happened to them. They felt guilty. They were confused. They couldn't understand. And the monsters that did this to them falsely created this world where these children thought it was normal and thought that that's what love from a parent was, or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent. And that's sad. And like Harmony, for instance, that poor baby, I can't even imagine the horrific ending she had. And I really feel like she went through something absolutely horrific. But she is a prime example. She wasn't reported missing for 2 years. Shortly after she was given to her father, she was taken from this world. And she had the opportunity to thrive in a good home, but because reunification is so important, it didn't matter. Blood isn't always better. Reunification isn't always the right thing, especially when you have so many clear signs, like with her case. Absolutely disgusting. And in my opinion, her blood is on a lot of people's hands, including the judges. And what really pisses me off more than anything, with her case, with Classic and Sincere's case, with so many other cases, is that the one final act to destroy these children is not telling where they are. That is the one final slap in the face that all these children who remain out there and are not of this world anymore, but their bones are out there. And the monsters that keep that to themselves so that way that child isn't shown any kindness even after their death, that's absolutely horrific. And it's very soul-shattering, because even after their death, they're still trying to hurt these kids by not letting them be found and be at peace. So go out there.
Mommy, we gotta...
Sorry, little one came. So please go out there. Look for the Jane Does, the John Does, the kids who we know are passed on, but their remains haven't been found. Keep their faces out there, because they all deserve that chance still. See a case that really, really just irks you, talk about it. Put a picture up about it. It doesn't take nothing but time and effort. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear about these cases, and it's to each their own. Nobody wants to hear the things we hear. The way I see it, though, is we sit there and we listen to what happened, okay? And it affects us to the point where we don't sleep, we cry, we get angry. It affects our mental health, it affects our physical health, it affects our personal relationships, because we just can't turn away, because we know that no matter how we feel about what we're hearing, it is nothing compared to what that child actually went through. So if listening and crying and, hearing things we don't want to hear is bothersome, and it should be, just remember, you didn't have to live through it, but they did. And that's the other reason why we should fight for them, because they're the ones that endured it. They're the ones that weren't protected. And that we have a system-wide failure throughout the entire world, not just in the United States, in the UK, Australia, everywhere. Everywhere. And the only way we can help is by talking about it, not giving up, not throwing our hands in the air, and for F's sakes, not deterring anybody from talking about that case, because it's not fair. Put your big boy, big girl panties on, cover it yourself if you don't think it's being covered right, or find somebody you want to be relevant and do something about it. Again, thank you for listening, and I truly hope you stick around. I hope that you got something positive from this video. I hope that this encourages somebody else to do the same thing I did and make a channel, just because there are things that you're not okay with seeing and you want to change that. So be the change. Thank you. Love you all for being here and taking the time to listen. And I hope you join me for my first live, whenever that may be, and also look into cases and continue to listen to cases on my channel. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Please take care. Please hit the like button, and have a great day.